I'm LaShonda, and if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're not, welcome back, dolls. If you guys have not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button so that you guys will never miss an upload from me. Today we are going to first, hold up, wait. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way because I know I'm going to get 1,000,001 questions about what lip color I am wearing in this video. The lip colors I'm wearing today, I always mix them ish. I have mixed Color Range, Roulette, and ColourPop Sunday. So that I won't forget, because I know a lot of you guys ask me and I always be like, I don't know, I just mixed up some stuff, but that's the lip color. But today's video is going to be on my top concealers that I have in my collection, and also some hacks and tricks to go over with you dolls. So I really hope you guys find this video helpful. So without further ado, let's go right ahead and jump right into the video. So I have so many concealers, high-end, drugstore, you name it. I own quite a few concealers I have in my collection, so I'm going to go over a few of them and go over the shades in case you guys are wondering what shade I am in the concealers that I use. So my first concealer that I want to go over is this Maybelline Fit Me concealers. I really like these concealers. They have been said to be compared to the NARS Creamy Radiance, which I don't know about all of that, but I will say that it is a good drugstore concealer. In this concealer, I am in the shade number 25 in medium. I also sometimes, if I want to kind of lighten it, well, I'll say darken it because it's too light. If I want to darken it up a bit, I will kind of mix it up with the number 35 Deep. And this concealer is kind of like a creamy, more watery feel. It's not really thick. I don't know if it's like a real full coverage either. I want to say that I kind of have to like really go in with this to get a real full coverage with this. I want to say it's more of a medium coverage concealer. It's in the drugstore and it probably runs maybe about $7 to $8. So if you guys are interested in this, the Maybelline Fit Me, it's pretty good. The next one, you guys know I love my Revlon color stay, so I had to give the Revlon concealer a go. It's kind of still on the same as our last one, a little bit watery, not too watery. It's a little bit thicker than the last concealer. And this shade is in the shade medium. It is light coverage. I won't say a full coverage because I noticed I do have to mix this one with another concealer just to kind of get it to really give me the coverage that I am looking for. So if you're looking for a bit more of a natural kind of conceal underneath the eyes, then this would be the way to go. For its price range, it also runs about $7 to $8, and you can find this at your local drugstore. Another drugstore from Maybelline that I like is called the Maybelline Master Conceal. This is a really great concealer. I really like to use this one. So this one has more of a really watery feel. It does give you a full coverage. So this shade that I'm in is also medium, and I want to say this one is kind of light for me. I do usually have to find something to kind of darken it just a bit so that I am not too light underneath the eyes, but the Maybelline Master Conceal is another good drugstore concealer that runs under $10. Now my favorite drugstore concealer, you guys probably know, you have seen me use this concealer so many times in my tutorials. This is the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin. Baby, when I tell you it's like having better skin, it is like phenomenal. I love this. I love to mix this with basically all of my concealers. It just gives me the coverage that I need, the color, the consistency, everything is right. I will say that if I'm going for more of a natural, I only have to put a couple of dots of this. When I want a more of a full coverage, I will mix this in with another concealer. I have so many. This is my top drugstore go-to concealer that I like to use, and it runs about $8 in my drugstore. I can find them always at Ulta or my local Walmart. So if you're interested in a good drugstore concealer, then try this one, the Maybelline Better Skin, my #1 drugstore pick. Now everybody and their mama use these concealers. You guys probably already know about the LA Girl Pro Conceal concealers. These concealers are like A1 low budget, well I won't say low budget, more affordable concealer that everyone can use. These are actually the color correctors that I like to use. They have a peach color corrector and an orange color corrector, and I like to kind of mix these two together to get the perfect, you know, color. Sometimes the orange can be a little bit too orangey, so I will lighten it down with the peach one, which is a little bit too bright and light. So when I mix them together, it gives me that perfect coverage underneath to kind of hide any darkness that I may have underneath my eyes. And the concealer shades that I like to use underneath my eyes, I will use medium beige, I also will use cool tan, and I also will use, I want to say, warm honey. It depends on how I'm feeling, what look I'm going for, but those are my top 3 shades that I like to use underneath my eyes and to highlight with. Now I'm going to move on into the more higher end concealers. I have just only 3 that I've been really like kind of going to lately. The MAC Longwear Pro Conceal. This concealer was like one of the top concealers used when like everybody started really getting into the makeup. It really does give you a full coverage. To me, I noticed it does kind of sink into those little fine lines underneath my eyes, so that's why I kind of have put this one down, but it's still a very good concealer to use. If you don't have lines underneath your eyes, you don't have that problem, then this will be probably a really good high-end concealer. It runs maybe about 25 to 27 bucks. I'm in the shade NC42. I will mix this one with the shade NC45. Yep, with my shade NC45 to kind of get that perfect color for me. So if this one is too light, I'll go to this one. This one's too dark, I'll mix them both. So if you want to try one of MAC concealers, then this concealer is definitely my top choice concealer by MAC. Another high-end concealer that I like to use is my NARS Creamy Radiance. This is a very, very full coverage concealer. When I tell you it will hide and correct anything under the eyes, you probably don't even need to color correct with this concealer. What I will say about this concealer, why I noticed I kind of put it down a bit, is because it really sets quickly. So when I say I have to put it on, go ahead and blend it out, put it on the other eye, go ahead and blend it out, because it sets really, really fast. That's one of the reasons why I put it down. But it is a very, very great concealer. Everybody loves this concealer. Not my top choice, but it's definitely one that if I had to pack something real fast and go, I definitely would probably pick up this one and keep it moving. So in the shade I'm in this one is medium dark 1 biscuit. Want to try NARS Creamy Radiance. It's very pricey. I want to say this runs maybe about 30 to 40 bucks, somewhere in there. So if you want to splurge a bit, this is a great high-end concealer to go ahead and pick up lately. And my last concealer is been Bae lately. Ever since I have tried this Tarte Shape Tape concealer, I haven't been able to put it down. I have been mixing this also with my Maybelline Better Skin, but I also can wear this alone. This concealer, it gives me the full coverage, not too thick. When I say it will give you too much coverage, I'll say, if you put on too much. So I do notice I only need like maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 little dots, and it's gonna give me the perfect amount of coverage underneath my eyes. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's like just right. But this is like babe, like it have you looking like flawless underneath the eyes. Like every time I put this on, I be like, girl, I am beat, okay? So it's definitely one that I have been using every day, like on a freaking daily, no matter what the weather is like outside. This one is in the shade Tan. I will say that it's a bit light. I am going to go and see if there is a shade 1 step up that I can use that's probably going to be a bit darker, but I can probably mix them to get that perfect consistency. But like I said, I have been using these two together, my Maybelline Better Skin and my Shape Tape, and it gives me like flawless under eye highlight. Like, oh god, like babe, these two together are like babe. This one probably runs maybe about, I want to say 30 bucks. Yeah, not too bad. It was anywhere from $27 to like $32 this concealer runs. It is my favorite right now, so if you're looking for a great high-end concealer that just will not steer you wrong, then honey, this one is definitely the way to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this makeup, and I'm going to show you guys how I apply my concealers, so just stay tuned. Now that I have all my makeup removed, I can show you guys how I apply my concealers. Now the first thing that I will say is sometimes it's best for you to have two shades, one of a darker shade and one that's maybe more of a lighter shade, or maybe one closer to your skin tone, because sometimes if you want to go for a more natural look, you would probably go for more towards your skin tone concealer. If you're going for that beat cake face look that I love, of course, then you want more of a lighter one. But like I said, you guys know I always mix some things up, so it's best to have two concealer, a dark one and a light one, to make sure you get that perfect shade that you're looking for. It's best for you guys to use your concealers on top of your foundation. If you're using a liquid foundation, it just applies better and looks better to me. I know some people do put their concealers on first, but I like to put my concealers on top of my foundation, because 9 times out of 10 I'm always going to use a liquid foundation. The next thing is make sure you conceal underneath your eyes with a color corrector if you have any darkness underneath your eyes. That's going to keep you from having to apply too much concealer. So if you notice when you put your foundation on you can still see darkness through, then it's probably best that you go ahead and color correct first. It doesn't take much of this stuff, very little. So I'm just going to put a couple of dots underneath my eyes, like so. And then I'm going to take the peach one and place that right on top of it, and this is going to kind of soften it down so that it don't make my foundation too orangey. I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to lightly dab right underneath my eyes. I'm going to look up, and this is going to kind of block out all the darkness underneath my eyes so I don't wind up applying too much foundation or too much concealer. So now I'm going to take my concealer in the shade Warm Honey. I'll place that right underneath my eyes. Just in kind of, I like to do it kind of like in a triangle motion. Now if you want your face to look more elongated and make your face look slimmer, then you can take your concealer way up here to make it look more longer. And if you want your face to look more round, if you have a long narrow face already and you don't want it to look too long, you can just keep it right underneath here and kind of like a small little upside down triangle. And then I'm going to take a damp beauty blender. And also if you want a more of a sure look, then go ahead and make sure you blend it out right away. Don't let it sit. So I'm going to blend it all in. And this is going to give me more of a sheer look. And I'm going to let this side dry a little bit and give it more of a full coverage. And then I'm going to blend it all out. Now see the difference when you let your concealer sit, it gives you more of a full coverage. This one is more of a sheer coverage. So if you're going for that natural look that day, then it's probably best that as soon as you put it on, you go right ahead and blend it out so that it give you more of a sheer glow look. And if you're going for more of a beat full coverage face, then let it sit for a minute and then blend it out, and that way you'll have that flawless cake face look that LaShonda loves so much. Not just kidding. You'll just have more of that flawless under eye look. Can you see the difference? Sheer, more of a full coverage. Now to Make sure that that concealer don't budge and go anywhere. It is best that you always set it with a powder. I'm going to be using my Sasha Buttercup setting powder to go ahead and set that in place. This is going to prevent and help your concealer stay put so that it don't move and start to crease on you throughout the day. I will say this also, ladies, that make sure you don't have any lines underneath your eyes. You probably can't see it on here, but I always have these little fine lines underneath my eyes, and I always take my sponge and look up and make sure I blend out any fine lines, because if you set that with powder, then you can't go back. Once you set it with powder, that's it. Go ahead and blend those lines out so that you don't have those little crinkly lines under there that I hate so much. So just make sure you look up and set that powder in place like so. Now if you want to bake your concealer, then instead of just putting it on and sweeping it away like I done on this eye, it's probably best, I'm going to go ahead and blend out those little lines underneath my eyes. But I'm going to bake under this eye. So when you bake, all you're doing is putting a little bit more heavy on the powder and let it sit. You can use your sponge, your brush, some of those little disposable sponges, whatever you like to do this step. And I'm just going to let that bake. And now after it has set for a couple of minutes, I'm going to take my brush and I am going to blend all of the excess powder away. And there you have it. This is more of a full coverage look, more baked. I could have let it bake a little bit longer, but you know, this is all for just the video of you guys. And this is more of a sheer look. Now, another thing that I will say that I forgot to mention is make sure that when you are setting your concealer with your beauty sponge that you blot it in. Don't rub it, because if you're rubbing it or pulling downward, you're really just wiping it all off and having to keep applying more. So it's best that you just kind of nicely blot your concealers in versus you wiping your concealers in, okay? Another trick that you can do with your concealers is clean up your contour. I don't have on any face contour, but let me just apply a little bit and then I'll show you guys how to clean it up with your concealer. Okay, so I've applied a little bit of contour powder. This is not real life. This is just only for you guys to just show you for an example. I applied a little bit of contour powder, and I'm going to show you another trick with your concealer that you can do. Concealer Warm Honey again, and I'm going to clean up my contour to make everything look nice and sharp. I'll take my sponge and I'm just going to blend that all out. Okay, like I said, this is not for real life, so this is just playing makeup. But can you see how sharp that is versus to how not clean this one is over here on this side? And when you take your concealer and then you go ahead and set that with a little bit of setting powder. But that's another hack or trick you can use with your concealer to clean your contour up to make everything look nice and sharp, especially if you're going for that full beat glam look. Another trick that I will show you guys to do with your concealers is clean up that wing liner. Sometimes I know you can get like a freaking mess with your wing liner, so sometimes if you don't use tape, you also can go back in with your concealer. Take a little angled brush and I just kind of take a little bit on the back of my hand and I would just make this line a bit more, and if I want to make it a little bit more sharper and make it look like I'm about to cut somebody with that wing liner, then this is a trick you can do. You just place a little bit underneath your eye like so, and take your finger and just blend it all out. Like so. That's another trick you can do with your concealers. again, that's it for our concealer video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If I left out something and you guys want to share with me your tricks and your ideas, then please don't hesitate to comment in the comment section down below. I always look at you guys' comments. I love learning new things, so if it's something you guys can share with me on some concealer hacks and tricks, then please share. I hope you found this video helpful. If you guys did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that little subscribe button, and I will catch all of you dolls in my next video. Bye, dolls.